Okay, just give me sharing, no? Can you enable sharing?
Yes, brother.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. So today I was just going to speak something, bit different. I was speaking about this to the children, and I thought I will talk about religion and art. How the idea of deep involvement of art in religion came to be, and what we see even in our modern day and age. We look at how much, if you walk into a cathedral or if you walk into a temple of various different religion, you will see that art and icons form a very deep, become an impact to their religious beliefs. So I thought I will bring about that. I'm not sure if all the children are in here today, but anyway, we can carry on and see how we can best present this. So I'm sure I personally, as I grew up, I was really interested in art and drawing from a very young age. I developed the idea of drawing, and as I grew older and older, I developed an interest also in uh, biblical art. For putting on my PowerPoint presentation, I used to search on the internet for art. Sometimes I sketch myself, scribble something, to get the idea and put it in my presentation if I can't find a particular art. So art actually plays personally for me an important role. And art, I believe, I'm sure many of you would love if you go into a museum or you have I'm sure I haven't come across anyone who has not said, who has said, said to me, I don't like art. It's something like we all understand. And if you look at the modern day and age in which we live, like things like cartoons, these play important role in different uh, arena, like in political world or the economic world. You could see these situations are clearly uh, depicted by a small scribble by the artist, and he brings about various uh, ideas and criticisms that he want to convey to the society. So in terms of religion, art was seen in modern days. Art is seen as something similar. Recently in France, they had somebody drew on a religion, and some issue was depicted in a cartoon, and that became a big issue. So it's not foreign to us. What we are discussing here is not foreign to us. That's what I'm trying to get at. This is something also more common, relevant, and what one holds as a belief is sometimes criticized, sometimes challenged through art by a non-believer, for example. It can be any religion. It can be a Christian religion. It can be a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist, or any religion. And where there is freedom of speech, where there is freedom to exhibit, your thoughts, your views and ideas, it has been exhibited, and it may sometimes offend another group. whilst it may also at the same time, it may provoke the thoughts and think, make changes and so on. So there is pros and cons in the things relating to what we are discussing today. So is art controversial? What do you think? Is it a controversial thing? I've just tried to explain things. What do you think your thoughts are? You can be interactive. Okay, so far you are just brainstorming. So as you continue to brainstorm, I'll carry on. Just stop me when you have the, any thought to share. Okay, I'm going to go into my next slide. Okay. Looking at the postmodern art, I wanted to start actually from the earlier centuries, but I thought I would just bring this up so that we can relate quicker with this postmodern art than the the ancient arts. If we have time, we can go through that. So the reaction against the ideas and values of modernism, associated with skepticism, irony, philosophical critiques of the concepts of universal truths and objects, reality. So there are several different things that's happening here. Other than me reading, I've already explained some of these, but these are lots of different things that postmodern art brings up is very challenging. It began around 1970s. Let's go quickly into the art. If you look at this, what do you think of this? Anybody? Just fire it out. You can see a sculpture.
Homeless person.
Sorry?
Homeless person.
Okay, but it's actually depicting Jesus. What do you think now? Jesus is depicted as a homeless person. Can you see the nails on the legs? So what are your thoughts?
That even homeless people have their own, they are also human beings, and we have to treat them well.
So it brings, so this is like the reception, okay? What they are doing is they are taking biblical subjects and they are making current and they are making it more relevant to us. Yeah, they are saying, we as Christians, we as myself personally, we look at Jesus more of those one who we worship in the church. We look at him as a God. He's so much distanced. Yes, of course, we have the key terms like love and all that we need to share and understand with one another. But when you look at these things, that goes to the next level. That takes our religion, from a different perspective, isn't it? It's almost relating Jesus is for the homeless also. That's the Bible told in its own way, isn't it? It's received and it's interpreted in a different way. Okay, we can move on to the next pictures. Again, this is a closer pic. What about this?
It looks like a cross.
Yeah. And can you see it closer?
It's crutches, isn't it, Uncle? Crutches, isn't it, Uncle?
Who is that? Nolan?
Yeah.
Yes, well done, Nolan. Yeah. So what do you think, Nolan? Why have they sculpted like this, Why should they sculpt a cross with crutches?
I think the people who are disabled, they use these crutches that's made like a cross.
So Jesus is not foreign. Jesus died. You can interpret. You see, our interpretation is free to, explore. You don't have to be exactly right or wrong here. That's called modern art. You see the picture and you interpret it to your thoughts, your understanding. So, so looking at this, it's a cross definitely representing again Jesus, but then there's also a deeper meaning. The cross is made out of crutches. So as you said, for disabled people, this will relate so well and so close. I remember on the BBC website there was an article. Actually, you can go and read it. This article is entitled "Stop Trying to Heal Me." Stop trying to heal me, and it was an article specially written for Christians because it is a common understanding with the Christian. They see a disabled person, or they see someone who is less abled than the abled people. They would want to immediately go and pray for them, and they want to see almost a miracle happen suddenly, immediately, and somehow get them, bring all the power from heaven upon them. And this actually offends and affects those who are less abled when the able person try and do that. So it's written from a disabled pastor's perspective. You can read that. And in that, a child wheelchair user was worried about why God had made me this way. And someone had conveyed to the child that God is also a wheelchair user. Where did that idea come from? Anybody from the Bible? Explore. It's a thinking time. It's in the Bible, though. Ezekiel saw the wheels. God's throne is made of wheels. You remember the story? So the child saw suddenly God in a very new perspective. God also is on a wheelchair. So the way we take God to the world is much needed in these days and these times. Conventional preaching and sermon can be useful for us, but for the society out there, we need to find different avenues and different ways to take Christ. And from what we read from the Bible, Christ can be very current and relevant to every age. That's no doubt about it. But what we do, we probably sometimes make him irrelevant. So we need to look at avenues and find ways and means to take Christ, seek for opportunity. Obviously, we have to pray and ask God for the help. But God has given wisdom for us to look in different angles and directions. Okay, shall we go to the next one? Our time is almost running by. I have got lots of pictures. What do you think about this?
Wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Well done. It's wrestling. You covered half of your guess.
Is it Jacob?
Jacob's wrestling with the God.
Yes. Who said that?
Mom.
Mom. Okay, Mom and Olin. You said Jacob as well. Yeah. So it's a sport. Yeah. And number 10 is normally the best players wear number 10 jerseys. You Sachin Tendulkar, Messi. I think there are other sport that I'm not very good at. There are good players who wear number 10. And also what you can see here, more than that, number 10. What else you can see here?
Anti-racism.
Yes. Okay. So who is here acting as God?
A darker person.
Yeah. So you can see, you can look at it that way. Some can argue, no, it's the other way, but quickly you can see a darker person is acting as God here. So
because they look more dominant than
yes, exactly.
And plus, he's holding the thigh of the person who is wearing the tent.
Exactly. That's what my next point is. But I think you are all very keen observers. It's really, you're touching the key points here. It's really, really good. So as Sister Merlin said, he's holding the thigh. Okay, and why is that important? Because when Jacob was wrestling Christ, he was holding Christ was holding his dislocating his thighs. So it's talking about so many things, the racial thing. It's talking about unity. It's talking about the blessing that would be given. If you think of Jacob's story and narrate into this art here, it's really, really key and important for the society that we live in, with the current issues that we have with racism and things like that. Okay, next one.
Oh dear.
With a bit disturbing art, but
Good Samaritan. Care of the parent.
okay, good try. Good Samaritan, care of the parent. Any other guess?
The Good Samaritan.
Think of it can be Good Samaritan. As I said, this is modern art, so you can interpret it however you like. I'm coming from the artistic perspective. So if I wouldn't have known the artistic perspective, I would have also thought Good Samaritan. Close to Good Samaritan, what else was there in the New Testament, that somebody was beaten up? It's taken down from the cross. That makes sense.
Is it Jesus after?
Yes, Jesus after the cross. Receiving Jesus after the cross, preparing him for the burial, getting him down from the cross. So, but there is an old person depicted here. So, there's a lot that we can relate from this. Okay. What about this? I didn't study this picture myself very well, but, I put it up here. So the man who's sitting on the bark, the tree trunk, is depicting Jesus, isn't it? It looks like Jesus, isn't it? But it's who is on the lap though? I thought that would be easy to guess who is on the lap.
Michael Jackson, looks like Michael Jackson, brother.
Yes, you can see the gloves down, you can see the white socks and the shoes,
Yeah.
and the red shirt, and it's Michael Jackson, absolutely. So Michael Jackson here is representing Jesus according to the artist. So what does that tell us? Okay, think over it. Let's try to go to the next one. What about this? Very contrastic picture, photograph, isn't it? This is a photograph, yeah. You can imagine so many different things out of this here. You know, Mary and Joseph, you know, you have a stark contrast of cultures here. Race again. Okay, I want you to think on those two pictures while we get back, and I want you to bring here. This is, I think, I felt personally this is quite offensive.
Yeah, I was going to say, what kind of art is this? Very, very contemporary art.
Yeah.
Sacrilegious.
Yes, that was, we got the title now, we got the context of the title. So what do you think? Just
Because it is a Christian thing, they are able to continue. If it was some other religion, by now they would have broken their buildings.
No, in fact, this was a Russian artist, Kasparov, somebody, and they sued him. And if you infringe, according to Russian law, if you infringe into anybody's religious belief and you offend them, you have 3 years jail sentence and some $1,000 fine or something. But actually, what they did, the judge who dealt with the case, he did not give him jail sentence, but just charged the fine and released him, the artist, because it came under the grounds of freedom of expression. This is what I was saying in the beginning, sometimes things people challenge our Christian belief, and that will be okay. But when people criticize our belief like this, it is sometimes very offensive. Yes, So you can see how the Bible is received by, I don't want to say outsiders, but received by people, men and women of this world, and they interpret the Bible and bring out their views and bring up their point in artistic format, whether it's sculptural or whether it's paintwork or whatever. So here it is like, this is one of the core ideologies of our belief, isn't it? The bread and wine, and taking that and putting it into Coca-Cola and McDonald's. It's a very strange thing, and it's a brand, and I was reading so much about this particular article, and there are many conversations going. One thing that I was trying to take with me after reading all that is like, is Jesus our brand? Sometimes that's what happens in our Christian experience and journey. We are Christians, and therefore we have this branding, which is actually dangerous. So that's what the artist is trying to also mimic. He is mimicking in a different way, which is wrong as well. And we may also do the same by branding Jesus. We need to call ourselves Christians, in that sense. So it is more important we live as the Christian experience rather than branding ourselves Christian, if you know what I'm trying to explain. So the living is key and important, of Jesus's teachings and ideologies must be experienced by us rather than we just tagging it. Okay, that's one thing. Any thoughts you had on this? Next time, who goes to McDonald's? Next time when you go, this thought will come to your head. Okay, what about this?
Is it the Calvary situation on the Christ on the cross in the Mount of
Yeah, that is it. So it's called Salvation Mount. This is called, I forgot the place, Spain or somewhere, I can't remember. But you can clearly see, all the steps, John 3:16, Bible, for God so loved them, and all those love verses is all around the mountain. So it clearly depicts that, the love of Christ, that because of God's love, he came and died and all that. So you see how all these are a reception of the Bible in artistic format, but are interpreted in a good way, interpreted in a wrong way, and so on and on. But definitely, the Bible as is not irrelevant. It shows that the Bible is being, taken by outsiders and looked at by them, and they are interpreting it, and still they are, it's just not a Christian document only. By seeing all this, I'm feeling to understand that, it is universal, and although people are not like us, but they do receive some strong points and areas, and then they interpret them to convey their ideas and thoughts. Any comments? So these are the things. Can you see the exact art it's copied from? So no difference at all. So this is actually, which one was this? Yeah, Jacob wrestling with the angels. This is at the art thingy. This is the artist called Sam Jings later. And then this is Austria. I didn't show you this, isn't it? Yeah, this is another one similar, receiving Christ from the cross. It's David LaCapelle. The American Jesus. Hold me, carry me boldly. I didn't show you this. It talks of so many things. Vanessa Beecroft. These are all having biblical, drive to them, all of them. Okay, I've hidden that off. The Last Cannibal Supper. There's an art that I had because it was not pleasant to see. So yeah, it's about somebody painting on African or some tribes that how Christianity came, and it was looked as if Christianity invaded cultures of other nations, and so on. So that was the art. But look at this. This is an Israeli photographer. He kind of makes a lot of detailed images. He takes, and this is about Da Vinci's The Last Supper. So all the biblical figures are here replaced. If you see Da Vinci's picture of Last Supper, it's almost close as this, but all these are replaced with Israeli soldiers. And in 2008, this photograph was in the front page of New York Times. So these are not really ordinary pictures. They have cost a lot of. So this is a Salvation Mountain. Look at this. So, what are your thoughts? I have a few more time, but you want me to show some more pictures, or should we discuss something?
You can show more pictures.
Who was that? Does he know it?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, right. I'll just bring about something different. Okay. How much time we have? 15 minutes. So I'll just go to the pictures rather than. So this is about. Go to some pictures that we can discuss. So this is earliest paintings of Christ during the 6th century, the oldest remaining paintings of him. Can you see the icons that they hold in their hand? They have Bible there or a book. Their fingers are on different, they're placed differently to differentiate between the disciple and Jesus. And this is the oldest surviving icon. Again, you can see the fingers of Jesus. You must have seen this. And you can see a cross. And you can see a halo around Jesus to show that he is righteous or he's a holy person. And you see it does not have a European touch to it. Did you notice that? Compared to the modern Jesus that you see in pictures. He's got nice dark beard, long hair, and his clothes are different. It's a close-up image. You can see the eyes are black, not blue eyes. But later you could see how things are changing. This is now Jesus and Mary. And you can see how Mary and Jesus are rich. Their richness is celebrated. All the pearls, and, the jewels that they're having. And Jesus does not look like a baby here. And he's more strong young boy sitting on the lap, like. Yeah, these are the Orthodox churches, and they have these icons. Look at Mary and Jesus here. So Mary's suddenly, she's starting to gain momentum. So you can see that the colors are important as well. The red undergarment and the outer red for Mary, and Jesus has a red undergarment, but Mary has a red outer garment. So colors represent lots of different things that they were wearing. And then you can see these Greek alphabets on the top, like MP, and you have lots of other icons, which says the top MP, P is not P, is rho, and theta, and you have also IC, XC, all this talks about MP is Mother, Holy Mother Mary, I think, and the ICXC is Jesus' name, and so on. So you see all these are important for them. It conveys their doctrines, it conveys how they're deified and how they are slowly deifying Mary to be, a holy person. And they believe that God can give that gift to human beings so that they can become also deity in that context. So it becomes very important. So the blue outer means, I've written down here, the blue outer means God become human, and Mary wears blue undergarment with a red overgarment, which means human granted gift by God to become deities. So you can see how important these things were for the early believers. Look at this. Now Jesus, almost retaining the previous picture, but now you see a lamb, and now they are not just painting, they are on walls and they are on stones. Is the person event is depicted. Is more stylized now. What about this? You can see Jesus, and you can, how many crosses you can see there?
About 3.
Yeah, sort of 3, isn't it? 2, and you can see down at the bottom, skull and things like that. So they have improvised. You can see Mary with the crown, Joseph. Then you have other disciples, followers of Jesus. So you can see various different things happening here. And look all of a sudden how Mary's changed. This is the Roman Catholic version of Mary. And then you have Roman Catholic version of Jesus. But they have retained the hand, the sign of the hand. And they have added like this heart, which is glowing. They have retained the halo of Jesus, but now Jesus became a white Jesus. So you can see how cultures, transforming, and even their icons get transformed, and so on. And the next one, I put it in, so I wanted your thoughts. What about this Jesus? This is an Adventist artist. Mind you, I'm not saying anything about the art here. I'm just trying to explore. I'm not condemning, you should not use art and things like that. Don't get me
I
wrong.
feel like he was very inspired by the Roman Catholic Jesus.
Yes.
I mean, there isn't much difference if you think about the image itself.
Yeah. There's only no halo.
There's no halo and there's no heart coming.
The hand is still like that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of thing that you see here is borrowed. But what's new here is we have got the commandments in the back. Jesus is still modern, the Western Jesus. And so what some feel like is we have westernized Jesus and we have kept Jesus to ourselves. And then we use Jesus then to transform the cultures of the East and Africa and other worlds. So it is almost like an accusation on Christianity. So you could see how Jesus had been received, and all of a sudden the world sees Christianity as if it's a Western religion, but it was not the case. It was actually a religion that came to the West. And not the contrary. Okay, so soon this became the art, it became very powerful. It has, the words are now transformed into art, and slowly people started seeing that this is dangerous. It's dangerous to the word of God, and something called aniconism that came in place, which means destroying. That's why when you see when you go to tourist spots and ancient sites, you will see some of the statues will not have head or hand or leg. That is because they felt that these icons were artistic sculptures were all infringing into their original beliefs, and therefore they try to destroy them, and so on. See, for example, even in our Bible we have, you shall not make for yourself any idols again. So these are all evidence of aniconism, where none of the Abrahamic religion believe in having idols or artistic images or any representation of God, or even about their patriarchal fathers or matriarchal mothers, or whoever did something great for the religion. The Catholic Church would make them saints and make an idol of them, but this was soon seen as a threat, and so hence there was this aniconism, destroying all these, because they wanted to go back to the roots by protesting Christians. Okay, so look at this. So these are like graffitis. The idea of I don't know if it's a Roman idea, but the idea that prevailed that time is how can God suffer? The Christian belief of God suffering is very unique, and it was a mockery for other religion when they came to understand that Christian belief is that their God suffered upon the cross. So they thought it was very much mythology, consumption. It was a very sophisticated Hellenistic society in which Christianity prevailed, and so all the Greek beliefs, and in there the notion of suffering God was ridiculous. So this was a scribble on a plaster wall in a Palestine hill near, not Palestine, I think it's in Rome. That was in Rome. I think it's cut out and it's in one of the museums now. This goes as early as 3rd century. Okay. So it was almost like an attack of Christianity, where you have a person on the cross with donkey's head. What do you think this is? Oh, I got it there anyway. It's the crossing of the Red Sea. Somebody stop me if your time up 2 more minutes. That's a crossing of the Red Sea. Yeah, it's done in 1932. This one. I think they discovered it in 1932. But done in 244 AD. So you can see that. And then you have other forms like, Arabic writings, and if you have visited the Taj Mahal, you would see all these type of artistic work. So what they came up with, we don't use images like how the others did images. We're going to use our scriptures on the wall. That sort of artistic decorations that you see here. So everything that if you see very closely, that will resemble something relating to the scriptures in Islam. So that's the ultimate form. Okay, so you can see here, again, that's like a throne. I think I've written something here. So yeah, it's a preparation of the throne for, the throne of second coming in Christ, second coming. And this is a Christian symbol, that Jesus is going to come. So it's called the throne of second coming. You can see a cross there. And I think that's a linen that is folded and kept, at Jesus's tomb, that he will come back again. So that is what is on that throne. So Jesus is going to come as a king, and the cross shows that he suffered, and the linen shows that the promise that he will come back. So it is all quite interesting to see from this perspective. I've got a couple of more presentations, but when I have time, I will put together some more interesting facts and items. Any questions and thoughts as we close?
The Anglican Church before Henry VIII had pictures on the wall to represent the Bible stories. After Henry VIII destroyed most of them, but there are still 1 or 2 in England that you can see. So the pictures were to tell the story of Jesus, because before that time, most people could not read.
Yes. And it played a very important role in understanding of their religion. Okay. Any other thoughts? No thoughts? Elder Suresh?
It's an interesting subject. It's very informative, I was surprised to see those pictures.
Okay. If there is no questions or anything, I'll hand it back to Brother. Yes.
Our churches are always, Adventist churches are always very plain, aren't they? They're usually, there's no pictures or anything like that in Adventist churches. The walls are usually a matte colour or plain colour.
Yeah.
But our church came out of the 1800s, so that's probably the reason for that.
Yeah, and it was strongly Protestant background. And so, anything that the Catholic or the other denomination, I think East Orthodox, they try to avoid.
Okay, thank you, Elder Jairaj, for that presentation. I'm sure everybody have enjoyed that Bible study. It's something different in New Year 2021, first Bible study of the year. And you kept everybody anxious every slide after the other. You wanted to see more slides. And hopefully, if God is willing, maybe we're going to have one more session soon so that you can complete the remaining slides.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity for today.